What's good, anime enthusiasts? Welcome to another season of anime. And starting this season off, we got one of the, I suppose, most anticipated and one of the more talked about and blockbuster hits, Sentenced to Be a Hero. And I did want to look at it just because of, I guess, the synopsis and premise, but especially after I keep hearing a lot of praise about it, especially from other outlets and journalists. And I thought, okay, there might be something here, or there might be a little bit of overhype, some bloatness to it, some rose tinted lenses being looked through for it. And let's just say I watched 58 minutes of something that barely moved. Not too much. Things that moved. There were story beats that happened, and things moved on. There was progression. However, let's just say that there were 50 minutes of action and dialogue between certain characters, and that's about it. And 8 minutes of story, and that's kind of not good. Like, it's captivating. It looks amazing. Animation smooth, visual looks awesome. You got action-packed fights between mostly, just monsters and trash, but especially against the big bad, it was pretty cool. Powers, and you get to learn a little bit more about the world, and oh man, this one's rough. Oh, no, it's not rough. I don't want to say there's a lot to be desired, but the next episode and the episodes after that are really gonna have to sink other people in. Like, the first episode is like full like movie action. Like, you've already seen this before, let's just have fun. But episodes 2 and on, like, needs to bring the story in and ground everyone so we can really have something. By the way, for those who are returning, hello, what's up? Y'all know the deal, buckle up. But for those of the first time, hi, my name is Sorena. I like anime, I love anime, I love it to death, I love the medium. And I am, just doing reviews of everything because why not just promote some critical thinking and thoughtful discussion. Anime is subjective. I have an opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can easily disagree with me. Comment down below. Let's talk about it. Let's try to figure each other out. That's really it. We can agree to disagree. We can have differing opinions. I don't care. I would like to know why you like things that I don't like. So, it says a lot. Maybe I can learn a little bit more. Maybe I can be swayed. Not too much to change from my general opinion, but at least I have a better foundation of what the other side thinks. I like that. I like playing devil's advocate. I like being critical. Especially I'm going to be critical for this one, to be Sentenced to Be a Hero. And honestly, first coming in, I was afraid that, oh my god, there's an hour that I need to get through. How am I going to do all the notes on this? And to be honest, I didn't have that many notes to write on. Like, for real. For the first 53 minutes, I barely had any notes going down as far as bullet points. Like, even in looking at my notes page, yes, I have like a page and some for notes, but nearly half of page 1 was just bullet points of me like staging things that happened in the story so that I can refer back to them, and of course some other general notes that's been said about the overarching like world building. And then the other thing is, like, on the last literal 5 minutes of the episode, that has the most story content of it all, that tells us the plot of what we're trying to focus on and where we go from there, right? But I usually like go through everything in the episode and like talk about it, but just because like the first 90% of this was front loaded with action, there's not really much to talk about. Like let's just start with being like a general like talk about of everything about the anime, the first episode itself, and probably I guess what we can expect. I already said it before about the art and animation. It's beautiful, it's fantastic. Can you find some faults and nitpicks in it? Yes. There are, certain action scenes to where the criminal hero Xylo, we'll get to that in a moment, but Xylo, he will like actually like throw his daggers to defeat an enemy, and they don't show the kill. But they do show a lot of his fights and kills like on screen in several other different places. There are some screens where he doesn't see them, and you're probably thinking, "Oh man, I should have seen that." Well, let's just say it's nearly an hour worth of animation and frames. They're probably saving things. If they actually showed every single kill that he did, it'd probably be like maybe like an hour and 30 minutes. Who really knows? But that's a personal nitpick you can have. You can say that some of the CGI is kind of in certain places, and yeah, it is. But as far as like designs go, I'd say it's above average. I think I like the designs of the enemies, the so-called demons and so-called fairies more. That little infected spore-like pus that grows in certain places of them that makes them a little bit more and grotesque. That's cool. And they generally focus on like one design in the beginning, and then they branched out so you can see a little bit more. So it's not just like regular fairies. They do have trolls. They have these dog-like creatures. And then you actually see like one of the demon lords, this huge insectoid thing with an eye that looks like a walking pyramid, like camel/turtle, but more of an insectoid form. Pretty cool. The armor designs, they're pretty cool. Depicting of a knight. They have like, I want to say primitive, but like first stage Magitech looking things. Like they have this thing called the Thunder Staff, which is, we can probably make it akin to like a magical musket, where it charges up and it fires like one big shot. It probably takes time to fire it up. They said they in some part, and in like a couple of scenes they say it needs ammo, but we don't see the ammunition, which I think is probably like it trying to charge or like some kind of mana crystal. It's not really clear or shown. I don't think there's a canister. There are these things called these scorched earth seals, with these like big propane tanks that they can use as bombs, but there's not really like any ammunition canisters or crystals they use. It's like to recharge these thunder staffs. But overall, the artwork and animations, it's up there. Music wise, I'm gonna be honest with you, I generally don't pay that much attention to the OST. As long as it fits, I'm cool with it. I'm not a big guy on like really critiquing the music. So in general, if it fits the scenario and it's not jarring or anything, it's fine in my book. So as far as the OST is concerned in this episode, I dig it. It's okay. It fits for the purposes and scenes that the OST shows in. I got no problems with it. Characters. Okay, so there are 3 characters that we follow out throughout this episode in full. I want to say there's 4 because they show her a lot more, as she is named and she knows the main character Xylo as far as like his crimes are concerned. So we'll see if she shows up more, but she does have some credence, and of course she survives. But the 3 main characters that we do follow are Xylo, the main protagonist that we have. We have Dato, a kleptomaniac, and we have Teorita, the goddess. And I want to mention this before we get any further. This world does subvert your expectations of what the norm is. So for instance, because Xylo is a criminal, but he is a hero. That is, his punishment is to be a hero. hence the name of the anime, sentenced to be a hero. So for whatever grave crime that he did, he's serving out his life to be a hero. And what a hero is that he's basically a conscripted soldier to fight for the temple, the holy order, and he's just being thrown to the front lines to fight and die. And when he dies, they resurrect him. And every time you die and rest, you lose a little bit of your memories and you lose your sense of self. Unfortunately, we don't see what that end result is, but we can probably say, the temple or holy order probably has some kind of army of not undead soldiers, but heroes that have no personality. They're just empty husk bodies to throw at the problem. We have the little frog-like creatures that you see, the demons. They're called fairies. You know, fairies are supposed to be these cute little like fae things. Nah, these things are evil. They look grotesque. And of course, Terita is a goddess. And you're thinking, oh yes, goddess, holy and power. No, this little girl is a weapon of mass destruction. This little girl is a problem. Whoops. Anyway, back to the characters. We have Data, the comic relief, the kleptomaniac, relatively new hero as far as what their dialogue with Xylo is shown. He's quirky. He really doesn't want to like get into like any problems or really wants to fight, but Xylo manages, corral him around, and he has a few little moments. Mostly it's this comedy, but he is kind of like a small little plot device, as he does bring in the sacred seal, not sacred seal, a scorched earth seal, the propane nuke to blow up the demon lord. And then we have the other real main character, Terita, the so-called goddess, that the kleptomaniac Data stole from the transport that Xylo and Data was supposed to, protect. And she is, I hate to say it, she is the atypical, oh no, it's a cute little girl that's really cute, but she's most likely overpowered. She's busted. She's a goddess. She wants head pats. She wants to be praised because she's a goddess. Let's be honest, it's cute. Is it overdone a bunch of times? Yeah. But as long as they kind of execute it fine, it's, we'll be there. So we have these three main characters, and the fourth main, not really main character, but like a side character that helps out, is Captain Kivia, who calls out Xylo towards the end of the little fight. But that's pretty much as far as the characters are. All of them have their varying appearances. Some about half look cool, the other half are, take it or leave it. Xylo is supposed to be, oh god, it's kind of hard to connect with some of the characters because it's the first episode and we just mainly get action. We don't really get that much backstory except for Xylo, and some of you will probably feel for Xylo for what happened to him towards the end with his flashback of the trial, but it's kind of hard to get into the characters, especially the story as well, which we'll now really get into because I don't want to take too long for this. The story, it does not come into play until the last few minutes of the episode. But for the overview of this whole episode is supposed to be Xylo and Data were supposed to support the retreat for the main Holy Knight force, so that they can transport Terita to the next fortress. However, the fairies attacked the transport and killed most of the knights. Data stole the coffin that held Terita, and Xylo kind of saved Data, but admonished him for stealing the coffin after he discovered what is in there, and he saw the goddess. He was like, oh, we need to leave it here. And he doesn't want to deal with it because Xylo hates goddesses. There's a reason why. Xylo and Dada go to a sort of clearing where most of the transport people were there, and Xylo goes down he was about to go down and save them. However, the so-called goddess wakes up, introduce her as Terrorita, and she's praising like, hey, my knight, calling Xylo her knight, let's go save them. All you gotta do is, let me know and I will grant you your wish. And Xylo's like, I hate goddesses, I don't need your help. And he goes down the mountain and helps them out and saves them. And Dotto helps out for a time, and Terrorita's just in the weeds, in the midst of scene, watching everything. And after, Xylo helped the knights, the holy knights, they did not like being saved by him. A penal hero, a person who was a criminal, and they were actually ready to behead this fool. They were about to kill him. Like, what? So there is this blind faith that these holy knights follow from the temple, and they were willing to die for the cause, to transport the goddess to elsewhere. Because when they saw the goddess, I was like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be the transport. And Xylo was like, yeah, transport, they're gone. And Knight's like, man. And then after Xylo got a call on his little hero caller from Benetim, another criminal hero, and they were to go help out another force that were trying to retreat. And Xylo, even though he's not being quote unquote branded as a criminal, he has good morals. You're kind of being and your expectations are being subverted, because you're thinking, wait, you're a criminal, why are you having these good morals? And these nice supposed to be bad people? Well, yeah, it's a kind of upside down, twisted world. While this demon blight is going on and corrupting everything, apparently there's a demon lord that's leading everything. And we go through the motions and we get up to the other squad, and the other squad is actually attacking the main force as being backed by this demon lord. And you can see like the big demon lord and everything, and we see Captain Kivia, and Xylo does come in and help out, and it's a pretty big fierce battle between everything. And unfortunately, it kind of ends up to the point to where Xylo needs to make a pact with Terrorita, the goddess, in order to really help save everyone. Otherwise, everybody's gonna die, because the demons are way too strong, especially the demon lord. And Xylo does make a pact with the goddess. And if you've seen Unlimited Blade Works, if you've seen 1010 with Million Blades Chaos, that's pretty much it. Terrorita is a goddess of swords. She's able to summon swords down and destroy and like stab all of the fairies and all the demons and the monsters. And I gotta say, this is so funny. The way Xylo fights, right? He's got these these tattoos on him. They're called seals. And what he does is that he superheats the knives and the daggers that he has, throws them at enemies, and they explode. That's cool, right? So when the goddess of swords just brings down the swords, Xylo just picks up any sword, and instead of using them regularly to swing, he just chucks them. This man is chucking swords and making them explode. I had never seen a protagonist or a main character have the ability to not use swords properly. Bro is just chucking them things. And even in the finishing shot, to where he gets this big giant sword, this giant Excalibur, in my mind I'm thinking, he better not throw this sword. He didn't throw the sword, he kicks it. This man puts both his feet on the sword and propels it towards the demon lord, blowing it up. But not defeating it. Mostly he still needs a little bit more of a nuke from a scorched earth seal to seal the deal. And after everything happens, it's a nice, sun comes up, Xylo's chilling, Terrorita's like, praise me, give me head pats. Xylo's like, hey, we survived, it's enough. And you're probably thinking, man, why does Xylo got a bad past with a goddess? He must have done something. And Terrorita is like, all right, I got enough praise from that. It's okay. And Captain Kivia comes over. It's like, you criminal, why do you have the goddess with you? And of course, Kivia knows Xylo's past. He was once a holy knight, and he killed a goddess that he made a pact with. Oh no! And then here comes a flashback. Now, this is where the real meat of the story is, where I have most of my notes on, alright? So yes, at this trial, this is of Xylo's trial where he killed the goddess. And we get a lot of exposition. He was the captain of the Federated Knights 5th Order of Holy Knights. That's Xylo. On the night before the crime, he led his unit in the direction of the 11th Demon Lord. Yeah, there's a lot of demon wars. The one they defeated with giant Excalibur, that was the 47th one. There's way too many. And just before dawn, he entered battle with his pacted goddess, Minerva. Xylo butts in and says, "Hey, my reinforcements never came." The judge says he engaged in combat without permission to do so, and his unit suffered catastrophic losses. Xylo objects, saying that he was given an official order, but the judge counters by saying no such order was issued by the fortress. There's no record of it. Then Xylo begins to I was given this message. Uthab City Defense Force Unit 7110 was. Then he's immediately cut off by the judge saying, "Hey, no unit exists." And they go back and forth. And what it boils down to is that Xylo did kill Zervana. And Xylo claims that, hey, there was no other way. Zervana fought and helped us to the bitter end. She exhausted her power and she reached her limit. And Xylo did what he thought was best. He gave her the mercy kill. And then Xylo gives us the little twist. Like, hey, do you know what happens when a goddess loses her power? She becomes weak and defenseless. And that's when the demon blight can easily corrupt her. And then the judge's like, there's no record of this. There's no way that a goddess can be corrupted. That's blasphemy. What are you talking about? And Xylo's like, hey, yeah, there's a possibility that a corrupted goddess will become a demon lord. And that's a scary thought, to have a demon lord with the power of a goddess. The god, like a power weapon of mass destruction. And of course, Xylo is silenced. He's being held down, and then he's sentenced to be a hero, which then skirts back to the beginning of the episode. But that was years ago. Xylo's fought plenty of demon lords before, and he's had his fair share of kills. And that's pretty much it for sentenced to be a hero as far as everything is concerned. But now we have to think about what is next for it. There's a lot of questions. You're probably thinking, okay, if you're sentenced to be a hero, what's the point? Can't you just leave? Well, unfortunately, they have this little brand around their necks to where the temple can just snap their fingers and you explode on the spot. You die, they res you, take your soul, putting in a body. It could be your body or it could be another body. Bring you back to life. You lose a little bit of memories in yourself. And it's probably to the point to where you just become like a husk, a zombie. But we don't know that. We don't know if there's other heroes, quote unquote, that are part of this temple army that they're building up. Of course, with the idea of a goddess being corrupted to have the power to be a demon lord, because the demon blight just corrupts anything and everything. Like the toad will become a fairy that looks like they're protesting. So it's quite possible that some of these demons are actually humans and other goddesses on a mass and grand scale. So is there a sort of secret thing that the temple/church is doing to create demon lords for them to fight, and they have some kind of overarching religious pool for other people to follow them because they're the saviors, they have the way to defeat the demons? Of course, we don't know what the demon blight is, we don't know how it started, and of course we're going to be following Xylo in his quest to find out who set his squad up, who tried to make it a suicide mission for his group, for all of them to die, and then for Zervana to be corrupted and maybe become a demon lord on that end. Who knows? There's also the fact that if we take that idea or theory and apply it to this episode, what was the whole point of the transport? Was that also a suicide mission? What if Xylo or Dada wasn't there for the transport? Would the Toretta been corrupted, and we would have had a demon lord that summoned unlimited blade works. You know, that sort of thing. There's a lot of stories and theories around to be abound, but you don't really think of that in the anime because there's probably way too much action. There's probably a thing now. I'll say this for this episode. There's a thing of there's too much action and not enough story to break it up in between the parts to really like give you a breather on things. That's pretty much it. That's all I got for theorizing. I'm my expectations for this anime are tempered. I think it's solid. It is a nice watch if you're in for like frolic fight scenes and things. That's pretty much it. But if you're looking for something like hard coded, like meaty story, it's not here yet. It's not here yet. The episode 2 and maybe 3 and so on, it's gonna be doing a lot of heavy lifting, and that's what I'm looking at with bated breath. I'm seeing a lot of 9s and 10s for this. For me right now, it ain't it. I'm looking at a 7. As far as like a first impression is going on, I'm looking at a 7. We'll see what episodes 2 and 3 give us up until I guess episode 6. But if y'all don't think so, or if you have any other comments to add, put them down in the comments below. Let's have a thoughtful discussion. Let's talk about it, and we'll see. You can go from there. If nothing else, I hope all of you have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I hope your day is just a little bit better than it already is. With that, we'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.